Oh, hey there. So today, well, get another episode of John Works Too Much. Today we're going to take this shower out, and it is beautiful with the gold hardware, but we're going to make it more beautiful. We're going to cut this cabinet back to here so we can make a bigger shower, because we're magical like that. We're going to put in new granite countertops, and then over here, we're going to cut this wall back, and open this up so that you get easier access to the toilet. So, I don't know if you guys get a lot of calls from spam risk, but I do. And I thought, I'm gonna be clever. Mike, you ever get this?
Yep.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. All the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually they ask you about your
Car insurance.
car's extended warranty. Yep, so here's what happened. I was like, I'm gonna be smart. And I called up somebody from India, just a random number from India, and I was like, I'm gonna be really redneck and pretend like, oh no, I'm really Indian, like I live right down the road from you, but like with a really not Indian voice. So I call him up, thinking I'm gonna be funny. And I'm like, hey man, this is Ramesh, and I was calling about your car's extended warranty. And he goes, your name is Ramesh? And I'm like, yep. And he goes, I do not believe you. I'm like, so anyway, about your car's extended warranty. And he goes, I don't have a car. I'm like, don't let that stop you. And he goes, I don't have any money. I'm like, huh. Well, what about your student loan debt? He's like, no, I paid for that as I went. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you want to meet hot Asian women in your area? And he's like, all women in my area are Asian. I'm like, crap. I always thought that India was in Europe, not in Asia. I keep forgetting that. And he goes, John. And I'm like, how do you know my name? He's like, I know all about you. Is your mother proud of you right now? I don't think so. And so he talked to me, and he really shamed me a lot. And I don't want to go into all the details, but he seemed to know an awful lot about my browser history. And really everything about me. He told me my name, my social security number, like where I live, my home address, all my kids' names. I was like, this is really scary. So I went ahead and bought a car's extended warranty from him. That's pretty much it. So it's been about 12 minutes because we're waiting on some people in the other room. But we did take out the shower, as you can tell, and this wall. Took out this countertop. Now, one of my helpers was asking me, what is this? Okay, now this is an unusual way to do it, and it's really not the right way to do it. But where your air conditioner is, it makes a lot of condensation. Okay, so then this condensation comes down and comes into a drain pipe and drains, right? So it actually is quite a bit of water that comes down. Now this isn't great because it goes lower first and then comes back up, so there's pretty much always going to be water in this area, so that's not amazing. But if that one clogs, then you've got another pipe that looks similar to this that comes out of your soffit somewhere, out of the ceiling outside, and if that's dripping, that means that this one's clogged and you need to fix that. So that's a good bit of information. Now, I'd like to tell you about a guy I heard about. It's in Southeast Asia somewhere, and this guy was 74 years old, and he had been a slave his entire life. Also, his father had been a slave his entire life. Also, his father had been a slave his entire life. And also, his father had been a slave his entire life over a $4 debt that this guy incurred. $4. 4 full generations, and this guy's in his 70s, his entire life on a debt from his great-grandfather, whatever it is. That's a lot of problems. So that kind of thing is heartbreaking. And there's slavery going on today. There's a lot of different kinds of slavery. Obviously there's human trafficking, and we just think that that's god-awful, and child sex trafficking, things like that, and that's god-awful. There's also, slavery that's legal in other countries. But in modern day America, what is a big form of slavery? Mike, do you know?
Help.
Huh?
Help.
The prison system, the American prison system. Because why is that? Especially in Texas, Mike, you know stuff about this.
Money. Money.
Well, hold on now. You're telling me, how do you make money off of a prisoner when it costs $30,000 a year to house them?
Make the prison fully self-sufficient.
Uh-huh.
You pay no wages.
Yeah. Wait, no wages? Not even like 11 cents an hour, nothing?
No.
Okay, and
then you start an industry.
So, and then you compete against businesses that actually have to pay their employees.
Right.
And then does that give you incentive to not let your people out on parole?
Yes.
Yeah. So you were telling me about a friend of yours, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I just think this is heartbreaking. He spent how many years in prison so far?
22 years.
22 years of his life, and he's how old?
44.
So half of his life and most of his adult life has been spent in prison. And now, because of a petty drug offense, which was a parole violation, now he's going to spend 40. 40 more years of his life, which puts him at 84. That was a plea bargain because it could have been a life sentence. So 40 years was a plea bargain on meth charges. Now this guy also, I just want to tell you what kind of a person he is. Yeah, go ahead.
Which meth charges that would normally be state jail felony, punishable by up to 5 years, but because of criminal history, they have enhancement, which now makes it worth 40.
40 years is a long time. A lot of you guys watching this aren't even 40 years old. All right, so this is the kind of guy that he is. The last time that he was about to go to jail, then what happened? The guys, the pedophile guys.
He found out about a sex ring and
A child trafficking ring.
yeah, and
they showed him videos.
yeah. He said it made a mistake. He said he still has nightmares.
Right. And they said, do you want to be a part of this? And he said, in his head, he said, I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life anyway. I'm taking you guys out because you're scum of the earth.
Right, I'll kill all you. Yeah.
Right. And so he's all like, well, yeah, I want to be a part of it, but let me meet all your leaders. I want to see what all's going on here.
Right.
And he's all, let's do this thing. And then his lawyer calls up and says, hey, we can plead you out of 12 years. And he's like, on second thought, and he just turned them in and they got put away. But that's the kind of guy that we're putting away in prison. A guy that's going to, he's like, I'm already going to lose, and so I'm going to make sure that bad people out on the streets. And I think that that's rotten. And I know him. Like, he worked on a job with us last year.
Yeah, good guy.
He's a
Works
good guy.
hard.
Right. And I just think that that's god-awful. So if you have anything to do with the prison system, stop. There's no justice in America. Not in the justice system. All right. Yep. Just over here yawning and doing nothing. Stretching out the line or something. Oh, yeah, no, we cut this. We cut this opening. That way you can get to the toilet easier. Because sometimes nature calls and you're like, I need to answer this now. And if you've got any kind of disability, you'd be like, no, I really need to answer this now. So over here, check it. We're taking the shower part, right? And we take some of the sheetrock off, and we're like, why is there a vent here? Why is there a dryer vent here? So we start speculating on what the look could possibly be. And then we decide, well, maybe there was a remodel and there was something, we don't know. It doesn't make sense. Then we get up to here, still doesn't make sense. We get up to here, somebody's just messing with us. I think, you know how I mess with people and leave things like skeletons and notes and stuff like that? I think somebody's just like, they're gonna be so confused about this. I'm confused. Anyway, so we're gonna bring the shower up to here and out to here, which will make it quite a bit bigger. But there's this outlet here, and we're gonna take it out, and then Mike said, we gotta leave the outlet in the shower, because like, how handy could it be if you're in the shower and you're like, man, I wish I could have an outlet here so I could plug in like a hair dryer or a toaster or whatever. Like, let's say you're in the shower, you want to make some toast and blow dry your hair. Boom, no problem. We got you covered. And right on the other side of that is the Grim Reaper. You can't see him now. He's there. He's waiting for you to die. Anyway, Mike, anything? I think that pretty much covers it. That's a dumb thing, and so we're not going to do that because we are dumb, but we're not that dumb. All right, what do you guys? Oh man, let me show you what we did. If you remember this morning, this vanity came out longer, out to about here, and then we busted off the top of that. We cut this hole over here. Take a look. We haven't trimmed it out yet, but it's going to look way better. A lot more access to the toilet. No more saloon doors. And then this was a deep shower, but it was narrow and deep, and it was that culture marble stuff, which smells funky when you take it out. And so we got that out. We moved the drain. We put in a new faucet, and then this has a diverter, so it can divert to the shower, or it can divert to a bar that will then have a handheld sprayer on it. So that should be pretty neat how that looks. Tomorrow we're going to buy a tile and get that all over. We're going to put a couple soap dishes in here, put in a shower door, and I think it should be pretty amazing. So what are we going to talk about, Mike? Perfect. The 6 stages of masculinity. Now, this is a book, and as you guys know, I cannot read, even though I'm an author. But our pastor talked about it, and I was like, this is very interesting. And every guy I've talked to about this has been like, this is very interesting. So I'm going to tell you real quick, and then you can look it up your own self. All right, so every guy has 6 stages that they go through for the most part. Okay, so it starts off with the beloved son. And by this, when a boy is usually young, but at any age, he realizes, I'm loved. I'm loved by my parents, I'm loved by God, by my family, by friends, by my community. I'm loved and I feel secure in that. And if he does not get that, For the rest of his life, he will be looking for that. You probably know guys that are like trying to prove themselves all the time and trying to be like, please love me, please love me, please love me. Let me prove how much I'm worth it. And sometimes they can be kind of irritating. And that probably snowballs into worse and worse behavior. Anyway, next is the cowboy stage. Okay, the cowboy stage, you're like, I'm not a cowboy, it doesn't matter. During this stage, you become a man. Whatever it is that you become a man. Every culture has something different. You go kill a lion, you break a horse, you join the military, you build a house in my case. Whatever it is, and there's a rite of passage for you and for everybody else that says, I'm no longer a child, I'm no longer a little boy, I'm now a man. I recognize it and everybody else recognizes it. And if you don't get that, you will be looking for that for the rest of your life. And we all know guys that never really became a man. You're like, so you're still playing video games at your mom's house. Cool. Anyway, the next stage, let me think. You got the beloved son, then you've got the cowboy phase, then you become a warrior. Okay, now a warrior is different than a worrier, but a warrior goes out and fights battles every day. Mike, you fight battles every day?
Every day.
Every day. We go out, we fight battles, right? And then at the end of the day, we're like, yeah, we beat some enemies, whatever your enemy may be, all right? In our case today, it was this shower. But whatever your battle is, you fight it with bravery and with courage, and you go out and you do your job, and you don't complain about it, you suck it up, and you're like, you know, that's what it is to be a man. Next stage is the lover. By the way, if you never become a warrior, you will probably be missing something inside of you. Like, we need that. We need to work. We need to have a purpose in life. We need to be respected, and we need to be good at something. All of us do. All right, so next is the lover. When you become a lover, right, then that means you have a wife and hopefully a family and children or whatever. And then you realize, like, all this money I make is not just for me, it's for them. In fact, most of it is for them. In fact, almost all of it is for them. And I'm going to give everything that I have, night and day, to make sure that they're taken care of, because I put them before myself. And to become a lover, I think, is a very, very important thing for any person, but especially for a man, because we're not really wired that way until something changes. And at which point we go, I love them so much that I will do anything for them. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. Next is a king stage, right? So somewhere in your 40s, 50s, something like that, you usually become a king. Now, let me just say that this doesn't necessarily mean you're like the king of England. This means that you are the king of whatever your kingdom may be. Your kingdom may be you and one other person. Your kingdom may be your house. It may be that you're the manager at your job, or whatever in the world it is. But if you haven't done these other stages right, you'll be a horrible king. I'm sorry, but you will be a horrible king. Everybody will hate working with you. They will hate working for you. They will hate being in your kingdom, in your house, whatever. You will be trouble. Get these other things right before you become a king. I'm telling you, if you're already a king, get them right now, because even though everybody's smiling, like, oh yeah, you're great, inside you're like, I freaking hate that guy. Don't be that guy, right? If you've done well at these other things, you will be a good king. People will come to you and be like, I love working with you. I love being in your kingdom. I love hanging out with you. I love being in your house, whatever, because you get it, right? Because you've paid the dues and now you're here. The last part of a guy's life is the sage, right? And you think, my kingdom is shrinking. Maybe I've retired. Maybe I'm not working all the time. Maybe I've downsized and people don't, I don't feel as needed or as important. But the truth is, your kingdom is actually growing, because now kings and warriors and lovers and all these people are coming to you, these younger men, and they're coming to you for advice, at which point you get to steer the direction of those kingdoms. You get to steer the direction of those warriors and those lovers and those cowboys and those children, and you get to become somebody that is respected, and that they look at and they say, man, I don't know if I'd have made it if I didn't talk to that guy. Like, he really supported me. And that is a beautiful thing. So with gray hair comes wisdom, and own that, right? Like, I don't dye my hair because I'm like, yeah, I'm freaking old. Get over it, right? Anyway, I think that that's kind of just an interesting thing. Look at the book if you want to. I never have. But I think that that's very important. And I don't know what it is for girls, because, look, I'm not a girl. I'm not going to lie. Like, I've checked. I'm not. All right, so tomorrow we're going to come in and we're going to lay tile on this, and I think it's going to be a beautiful thing. Love you guys. Bye. So you're probably wondering, how does a hippie polygamist count his wives? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and so on, depending on how many wives he has. All right, so if you remember, this shower ended here, and it was underwhelming. And then the cabinet came out, but now, look, we did all the tile today. So this has a shower faucet, then it has a diverter that will go from this, which will be a spray nozzle, or up to this. And then we got 3 soap dishes in here. We got accent tile, a low curb because more for handicap accessibility. And then if you remember over here, we had to take some tile out. So then we built this wall, we sheetrocked it, we did 1 coat of tape and bed, which is great. We got the tile patched here where the wall was, and then we put this up. We still need to put trim up there. But pretty exciting stuff, huh? So tomorrow night, today's Thursday, it's Throwback Thursday from earlier today when it was also Thursday. But tomorrow night, I'm gonna play at an open mic night in Arlington. A couple songs, so if you guys want to come out, it'll be 12-string stuff, so hopefully that'll be fun. All right, hope you guys have a wonderful evening. See you later, bye. Hey there, this is for Carlos Miranda, because I love you. All right, so we had a busy day. We got everything grouted. We put in a grab bar, which is nice. We put in the shower door, which is nice. We got in the shower. So this shower has, let me get this stuff out of the way. As you can tell, there's the main faucet, and then it'll come up to this, but then there's a diverter, and it'll divert between this or that, and then you can take this off and spray it. And it's got soap dishes in there, and we kept it low, which is nice. Also, we cut this hole. If you remember, this was just right here, and we made this bigger so you have more access to the toilet for handicap accessibility, which is super nice. We put in a new light, we put in a new fan, wired that, put these 2 lights together, put in that light right there, tape bedded texture and everything here, built that wall, and I think put in a couple other fans and toilets and things like that. So I've got a friend, and he is still in school, and he said when he does not know the answer to a question, he just puts Jesus, because Jesus is the answer. And his mom, he's in homeschool, and his mom's Christian too, so she's like, I'll allow it. So I don't know if that's like a good thing for later on in life. Like, I don't know, I guess engineering, I don't know, Jesus. They're like, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work in real life. But I think for what he's doing, I think that's super cute. So use that if you're in school, kids. Jesus is the answer. Also, if you're wondering what's not the answer, do you know what the answer is not? The answer is not the government. Whatever your question is, if you're like, is the government the answer? No, they just messed stuff up. Now let me talk to you about, how much time do you have? Let me talk to you about personal accountability, okay, and ownership. So when somebody is a renter in a house or a car or whatever it is that you're renting, you're like, don't be mental. Why are you being gentle? It's a rental, right? You don't care because it's not your thing. But once you buy something, then you're like, I want to take care of that because that's mine and I paid a lot of money for that. And that's called pride of ownership. So what happens is when you buy a house, you take better care of it. When you buy a car, you take better care of it. And when you think my community is my community and I'm personally responsible and all of us work together and we're all responsible for this, but we love it and we care, then you take ownership of that. But when you're like, somebody else has to deal with that problem and that somebody else just is like, well, it's somebody else's job, and you go, oh, there ought to be a law against that, or there ought to be a law for that, or whatever in the world, then all of a sudden complacency sets in, bad service, nobody really cares how much money is being spent. You're like, who cares, just spend more money. But that's a horrible way to do things, right? So my personal opinion, which I strongly push, is less and less and less government. Build our roads. None of us are gonna build our roads by ourselves. Good job, we want you to build the roads. Protect our borders. We're not gonna do that by ourselves. We can't just run out there like, hey man. But as far as micromanaging our lives, please don't. We are Americans and we want to live our own life. So leave us alone. Government's not the answer. I'm gonna make a shirt that says government is not the answer. If you want to buy one, let me know. All right, bye.